Hey there, convoy crazies. Johnny here, coming at you from a beautiful, lush central Pennsylvania Monday morning, the day after Easter. And I just wanted to give everybody out there an update. I'm still alive, still kicking, still giving her. And well, what am I doing today? Drilling this out to 3/8. We're at 1/4 inch right now. I want you in your mind's eye, see if you can recognize this before I spoil all the fun. So think about that for a while I drill this, and then we'll go over and talk about what I'm working on right now. I'm trying to get ready for the Lewis and Clark convoy from Bismarck, North Dakota to Fort Clatsop, Oregon. Not pronounced Oregon, I was corrected on that. Oregon. Okay, drill time. All right, we drilled this top one out to 3/8 for a 3/8 24 fine thread cap screw and nut with a lock washer. So that's your second clue, 3/8 fine. Here's your last clue. See if you can get in there and see that right there. Okay. Squeaky found this trailer for me in Oklahoma. This is, from what I have gathered, both wheels were stamped 1942. So I'm going to call this a 1942 Willys Overland TW6 Ben-Hur trailer. First I thought it was a Bantam because of the casting numbers. I won't get too far into the weeds here, but upon further research, all of the Willys casting numbers have an A prefix. So the Bantam part number is 14050. The Willys part number is A-14050, and there are a number of other parts that have Willys casting numbers. So I strongly believe that this is a Willys Overland TW6 wooden Ben-Hur, which is what I was looking for to put my shelter on. And before you guys get immediately triggered and X out of the video and call me for destroying a beautiful, rare trailer, I haven't modified permanently any part on this trailer, just like every single other one of my military vehicle projects. I've done my best to replicate all the original parts that were missing. For example, these pal nuts here, you already saw them when I was talking about the casting number, but these are called pal nuts. This is the 3/8 fine, and they're what they use to lock these nuts on there. An old school kind of like nylock kind of deal there. Had to order a new spring bolt. That's a surplus Gersten Slogger I got on eBay. Let's see, these chains here. These chains, uncut original Ben-Hur trailer chains, were listed on eBay as a set of Jeep chains. And I saw the listing and I saw these hooks, and I knew right away they were not for a Jeep trailer. They were for a Ben-Hur. I could pay 50 bucks for them. Uncut. So why am you're probably guessing, what am I doing here with this trailer? Well, there are a number of objectives I'm trying to achieve here. Number one, weight savings. That's number one. That's why I didn't build all the sides and the floor and all that stuff. I'll get into that in a minute. Weight savings, number one. Number two, ground clearance. I want this thing as low as I possibly can get it. When Squeaky brought this trailer to me, somebody had already done an axle over conversion. So they drilled the bottom side. This axle is sitting right side up right now. They drilled the bottom of the axle here and set the axle on top of the springs, and that gives you a little bit of a drop. I wasn't enough, and I came up with this idea of building a drop axle for it. Okay, so this is a 6-inch drop axle, 2x2 1/4-inch A36, and that'll give me a little more of what I want. I also took 4 leaves out of each spring pack, which gets me down to these springs that hold the pack together. I forget what they're supposed to be called proper. It'll come to me. But so with these Ben-Hurs, you can take 4 leaves out and still maintain that leaf with the clamps on it. So yeah, and there's a couple of things with this axle. I wanted a drop axle, which Midwest Military has a, I think they were from some specialty trailer. They're a 2-inch drop Ben-Hur axle. That still wouldn't get me down as low as I want, and this doesn't look like it, but that son of a weighs 67 pounds. That's a 67-pound hunk of steel there. This is half of that weight. So 6-inch drop, half the weight, a little bit of work, and so yeah, that's where we're at. I decided to do it. Let me show you what we're doing here. So here's where I am in the process now. Both of my axle stubs are A36 hot rolled. They're machined and they're ready to go in here. They were ground to fit this. I'm gonna slit this on the sides, weld it on the sides, weld it all the way around, and then these backing plate mounts get welded on just like the original, something like this. Okay. You can see here, originally what I presume they did is they took a square bar in the factory, and they welded a 3/8-inch plate as a backing plate mount, and then they machined everything all at once. They machined the bearing bosses, they threaded it, they cut the taper, the seal surface, and they cut a little shoulder on that backing plate mount to accept and center the backing plate. Well, that's all well and good when you can machine all this in one time. But how are you going to machine a 6-inch drop axle like that? I thought about it and decided, well, I'll make it in the style of the original. I'll get the axle and the hub and everything mounted, get the backing plates on, then I will get this bolted up to the backing plate, and then I plan on applying the brakes so it'll self-center. Then I'll tack it in place, take everything apart, and then weld it. And that'll be good enough, in my estimation, for a parking brake. This isn't a stopping brake. That's why this isn't 3/8 plate. This is 1/4-inch plate. I figure I can pick up a little bit of weight savings there too. This is just for parking. And this trailer is never going to see a ton of weight on it. It's only ever going to see the shelter. So that's also why I didn't fully deck it. These boards came from a white oak up in the hollow. I had cut one 2x4 cross member, white oak. I picked that thing up and holy cow was that heavy. I says, I wonder if I can get away with pine for now. So I cut some pine cross members, charred them, and they're going to be good enough for me, I think. Down the road, I could always put the yoke cross members in if I wanted to. Down the road, I could put all the sides and everything on it. These little short, it's only missing one of these little 6 short braces. They were all fatigue cracked. Some were broken completely. So I welded them all up, assuming that I was going to do a 1 board high Ben-Hur instead of, you know, a size that are like 14 inches tall, 16 inches tall, I think. So they come up to like here. I was going to do a 1 board just for the look, and then make a box up front for my refrigerator, my 12-volt refrigerator and stuff that I got. I decided I'm going to build a separate box like an ammo crate, like an oversized ammo crate for all my accoutrements. I will mount that to the front of the trailer. The shelter's going to go on here. I'm going to make some kind of mount that either bolts here where this hinge bracket goes, so it will bolt here and then clevis the corner of the shelter down somehow. Then in the center here where the center hinge mount is, I want to make a fold down landing leg, rear landing leg with the step built in, because I'm not going to have a tailgate like I did before. I thought about it, you know, this was a last minute decision. I'm not going to put the wooden sides in the front on it. I'm not going to make a tailgate for it, because I'd have to make all those irons and everything too. This didn't have a tailgate. But yeah, I've been working on this a lot. I have to make a front landing gear wheel and caster. Without getting too far in, well, I'll just explain. I made the wheel that's on my other Ben-Hur, my metal Ben-Hur. It's a little bit too big. So I would like to make another wheel for it so it comes down and locks correctly. What I think I'm gonna do, I think I'm gonna take that wheel, which is a wagon wheel type of wheel, use it on this trailer and make a custom caster. And then I really kill two birds with one stone, or at least minimize the work I have to do. The wheel's already done. All I would have to do is make a caster for this trailer. Then I can make a new wheel for the other trailer that's the right diameter. And then I got two trailers with the correct landing gear. So the premise of this was to maintain the original look. So that's why I went to all this work making this drop axle with the stubs that are the correct dimensions. I'll go show you that in a minute. These hubs are going to go back on the trailer. The brakes are going to go on the trailer. The wheels are going to go on the trailer. So it will accept all the original bearings, seals, and parts, everything. I'm going to have to pull the fenders probably off the other trailer and put them on this with some extensions to raise them up. But that's where we are. It's been a long, drawn-out process. Got a couple, I've been working on the Jeep. Been doing some things, new thermostat. I got a front and rear leak, and I want to put a real cat in it and some other things. The edge binding on my summer top needs redone. And then I have a footer inspection that's due in June. Plus I'm marching in chief of this convoy, and I have some duties to attend to with that as well. Let's see, this one, we'll get you the prettier one to look at here. Here we are. You can see this goes into 2x2 square tubing, gets welded around, and I just need to cut a keyway and cross drill this for the cotter pin. I've tested both of them. They both will draw up. The bearings fit correctly, and that's that really. It's just I've been so busy with this other stuff, I haven't had a chance to really sit down and really work on this. So that's what I'm doing today. That's your spring update. We're getting ready for the old Lewis and Clark Trail. Hunbun and I are heading to Homerville, Ohio, night 1. Then we're gonna head north and stay in Tawas, where she grew up, night 2. Night 3, we will be in St. Ignace and meet up with the rest of the convoy crazies heading west. Then we're in Ashland up at Crayer RV Park, where we stayed last convoy, right on the Lake Superior. We're there for a night. Then Walker, Minnesota, and then we'll be there on, what was that, day 6? Something like that. So I haven't come up with a name for that trip yet, but I will, rest assured. These are the 3/8 fine bolts for the backing plates. This had almost all of the original hardware, most of which has the original paint on it. Just unbelievable. You don't find stuff of this quality here in the Northeast. just because of the climate. You know, I barely had to use a torch on any of these bolts to take them loose. Most of them just came loose. I was shocked. I'm so jealous of you guys that are in the drier climates. Like when we go out west to Nevada, through Nevada and Utah, all those places out there. All those old original buildings and just so many project vehicles, old antiques, just everywhere. It was a culture shock for me because, you know, stuff here just rots, man. Now what is going on with this here bolt? Oh, I can't say that. I can't get it started. Yeah, AI. I'm gonna have to start watching my mouth with the AI. I was watching a body cam video the other night where this girl had sent a snap on her Snapchat to a couple of her roommates and like her boyfriend or whatever, jokingly threatening to do something to her students. She was a student teacher. Snapchat sent that to the FBI automatically, and law enforcement was there in an hour. Can you believe that? First off, that's amazing. What if that was your kid? Okay, so let's, I know I'm getting way off into the weeds here, but just assume for a second in this alternate universe that was a legitimate threat that they expected only to send to a couple of their close friends, and that was your children in that school. And the coolest part about it is they didn't even know what was coming, this individual. So that was pretty neat. The reason I say that is I have to be careful with original gaskets. I did not know that was laying on the ground. I have to be careful with what I say, you know? Because the AI can... Oh, yeah. The AI can do a number on you. And I have very few followers as it is, and I want to keep them growing, not shrinking. So... can't be saying those naughty words. I don't have a screwdriver or anything to crank this open a little bit. I don't really want to be cutting threads there. I just want to clean them up. I don't have a rethreader in that. Hold on a second. Okay, quick lesson. So your regular thread cutting tap that's round and has a slit in it, this is an adjustable tap. You can adjust the amount of thread that you're cutting with these. And if you want less threads, and then we're just going to crank down on this middle screw here a little bit to open this die up. It doesn't take much, and you can't give it much because these will break. These are very hard. That should be a little, yeah, that's a little easier to turn in there. This is nice, but I don't really want to cut threads. I don't want to cut them deeper. I just want to clean them up. So we're going to keep on doing this. Clean these up a little bit. Okay. So. Anyways, those of you who don't know who Squeaky is, he goes on most of the convoys. He's a hard-working man, works on the farms out in the Midwest there, and he travels quite a bit. And during the last convoy, I still don't like that. During the last convoy, I had mentioned that I'd been looking for a wooden Ben-Hur. And I'll be darned if he didn't find me one. I'm not going to tell you what I paid for it, but it was... the fuel to get it here was more than what I paid for the trailer. What a deal. And it is in exquisite condition. This trailer is perfect. I'm not ever going to need another trailer for my little convoy crazy specials. This is much better. This is turning in here the way I want it. I'm just going to keep cleaning these up here and keep working until it's time to go to work. Plus they're mowing anyway, so I'm going to get off here. Alright, now that that's mounted the way I want, here's the deal. I have these clocked the way I want them. And this is actually the left side. The right's on the left, the left's going on the right. Those of you who have Ben-Hurs can tell by the way this cable is oriented that this is on the wrong side. Because if I had mounted this the correct way, the cable would be up here past this frame rail. So I needed to be able to move the cable down here on this bottom side. The only way to do that was to invert the sides. Next step is to get the stub assembly welded in. Then I could put this on here and lightly apply the brake, and that will center it, help self-center it. This is just in here loose, don't worry. Then I will tack it on the back side. I'll tack it back here, take the whole thing back apart, and then weld it up pretty good. Then that will be that. Hey guys, so I started my workday off with a little bit of March Unit Chief work. And the March Unit Chief of the convoy does a little bit of work before the convoy even kicks off. It's my job to transpose all of the information from the registration form into a deliverable that each participant has with them in their vehicle. And that lists the consist of the convoy. So it's my job to organize all of that and put people where they belong. And that part's pretty easy. It gets a little more tricky whenever you're selecting and trying to find competent March unit leaders, because they're, for the lack of a better term, they're squad leaders. And they're in charge of each March unit, which is typically a vehicle type. So they're typically in charge of 6 or 7 vehicles, and that can get a little complicated trying to, find somebody that's going the whole convoy that exhibits traits of leadership, that's dependable and squared away and all of that. So when that's all done and I've reached out to people and they've agreed to be March unit leaders and tail gunners, I will start at the top of the list. We got about 3.5, 4 months to go till the convoy, till first gear. I'll start at the top of the list and just start working my way down and getting in touch with everybody and talking to them. That serves me a couple things. One, it proves that it's a good phone number. And 2, that there are no last minute changes or anything that got missed, that I missed on the registration spreadsheet, that maybe they're bringing a support vehicle, or maybe they have a co-pilot that they didn't have when they registered, so on and so forth. Some things change. So I like to have everything, it's one of my things that I like to have everything correct on this sheet before day 1 of the convoy. So that's where I am right now with that. Working my way down the list and talking to people No significant changes yet, except my friend Mike Ward. I have to talk to him again to see if he got his motorcycle done yet. But looking forward to that. Then I have some bridge plates to make. Everybody's getting a bridge plate with their March unit designation on it. And yeah, so I have that to do too. So needless to say, I got a lot going on this spring. But as always, thanks for following along. If you have any questions about the convoy or anything you see on this video, just leave it in the comments and I'll do my best to answer it. Okay? Keep on jeeping on, keep it real. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.